first episode of the Pop-Up Podcast with one of the brothers that's sponsoring us, Do or Die, Bedstuy Brewing Company. Do or Die Lager is one of the companies that's sponsoring us. And I wanted to bring my brother Manny here to tell us a little bit about the beer brands and what he has going on and how he's helping his community out in different ways. First of all, how long have you been into this beer business, Manny?
Wow. Well, first of all, thank you very much for taking your time out, and the gentleman here to take the time out to listen to my little story. Could be doing anything else, but you guys are hanging out here with us. Pretty cool. I appreciate that.
Definitely.
Wow, my story in the beer industry. Wow, I've been doing this over 28 years, believe it or not. Believe it or not. Obviously working for people, working for distributors and stuff like that. Getting to understand the business itself. It took me a little while to really understand the business, but you know, where I'm at right now is a freaking awesome place to be at, you know.
That's good. Because people I bump into, they be like, where you make the beer at? They think you make it in the house. And they don't really realize like people where we come from can't be entrepreneurs, can't do great things in society. So that's what makes your story so amazing. And like I said, we both came from the same neighborhood,
of course.
Took different paths, but we came back together again.
Totally. I'm definitely not making it in my bathtub. When it comes to making beer, you have to obviously go to a brewery that is actually legit with the health departments and all that stuff to just be illegal to be able to deal with alcohol. I'm actually making the beer at a brewery called a Round Table Brewery, upstate New York in Garnerville. And the reason why I decided to make the beer there, not only because of his vast knowledge of making beer, but this gentleman, Ricardo, and his family. It's a family thing with him, and he's the only, and it's kind of weird to even say that, he's the only Hispanic-owned brewery in the state of New York. So, you know, that to me is like, wow, you know, there's no black-owned brewery in the state of New York. There's no brewery that's of color except Round Table that makes their beer, and they own their own equipment. They don't ask nobody to rent space or any of that nonsense. So I love that whole story about what he's got going on. Him being Hispanic, and, you know, being black or Hispanic is usually like we're the underdogs in everything that we got going on. But I decided to make the beer with him and have him follow the recipes, and him and his team, they know what they're doing. They've been doing this for a very, very long time, and I'm just happy to be a part of what he got going on, and he's able to make my products, you know, to my specifications.
What made you get into the beer selling beer and stuff like that?
Good question. My mother could relate to that, and a good friend of mine, Rick Suarez, could relate to that. Before beer, actually, well, you know me from what
playing baseball.
What is our boy called? Fruit calls us Sandbox. From the Sandbox, right? So I've been playing baseball all my life in 270 Park. Going to 117 playing against brothers from Taffy. They called them back in the day the Puerto Rican brothers from Taffy. So being in LG at 325, we always, everybody, you know, our age group, we have to, you know, go out and show out and maintain our representation of LG, and we usually did that. So I played baseball all my life in 270. Then going to high school, Lafayette High School, I went to play there for 4 years. Wow, 1991, going back many years, we were the #1 high school baseball team in the country.
Wow, that's amazing.
And me traveling from LG all the way to Bensonhurst every day with the whole, I don't know if you guys remember, maybe you're too young, but the Yusef Hawkins things that going on with the whole Italians and blacks.
We just talked about that earlier.
Right, isn't that weird?
that's
going to school out there, you know what I mean? Bensonhurst is like a whole nother thing, but coming from LG. But the good thing I was throwing, I'm a lefty. My mother bought me the wrong glove growing up, so I had no choice to tell a Puerto Rican woman, you bought me the wrong glove, you got to take it back. She it was not happening. So I actually converted into being a lefty. I'm an actual righty. So I'm the only guy in the project that had a left-hand glove. So I'm like, oh great, nobody has to share my glove. It's a treat. But playing baseball, I went to Norfolk State University for a couple of years, and I decided to come back to New York and got on a traveling team, and I started to travel all over Latin America playing baseball. Dominican Republic, Mexico, Costa Rica, Honduras, Panama, Puerto Rico, obviously. I mean, I enjoyed my youth, but coming from LG and the whole ambiance of what we got going on here is like, you know, there's nobody doing nothing for what we got going on in the inner cities and in Lafayette Gardens and in our communities. You know,
Exactly.
I know it's beer, and everybody's like, oh, it's beer, beer, beer. I get it. Trust me. But you know what? At the end of the day, nobody's doing nothing for our community, and that really bothers me when I'm trying to come and say, you know what? Let's try to figure something out. Forget about beer. Everybody drinks. I'm not trying to get people destroyed and messed up, but you know, let's try to figure out a way where I could donate products so we could actually generate awareness for the brand, obviously, but also generate money for what cause we got going on. You know, coming from LG, I get there's a lot of issues dealing with a project building and multiple project buildings with many tenants living there, but those tenants are good too. And sometimes people go through issues, and I always told you, you know, the people in our communities, there's nobody doing anything for nobody. So if we have to come together as a group to try to figure it out, why not? And everybody drinks, so it's not like, you know, we're trying to put a blind eye over it. You know what I mean? At least I'm trying to come back to the community
And give back.
and give back. And I'm not trying to get people lives destroyed, you know, by drinking beer. But again, nobody is doing nothing for our communities, and it's shameful.
And that was one of the key things he said to me, and he stuck to that through and through every sense of the way. If I have an event, he's donate the beer. If I have something for the community, he'll donate it. And it's really because he sees that what goes on, we got to worry about the funding, the grants. He don't want nothing from nobody. I can tell you. He's like, I don't want you to depend on nobody. You make the money, you use it for what you got going on, and that makes it easier for you and better for you, so you can do something for the community. And I didn't know that, but as you could look on his website, $1 for every can sold goes towards helping us when we doing Lafayette Gardens or whatever, and it's definitely appreciative. Definitely appreciate you for that.
Welcome.
Because like I said, it came out the blue. We just was at an event, and we just started going. We went in the event, gave out all the beers, everybody loved it, and we just been connected ever since. Like I said, so
Awesome.
definitely full circle moment. What's the good about the beer business? What's the good and what's the
The
bad?
good thing in the beer industry right now, I tell you, man, being in the industry so many years and being pretty much the only Hispanic Puerto Rican in the industry, in New York City, developing brands for so many years that we've been doing, is the relationships you build with different people doing business. You know, when you do business and you exchange money, it's one thing, but when you're hanging out with people and doing business and hanging out and chilling and get to know people in business, as you guys know, everybody knows, is all about relationships. And my relationships are really deep in this industry, being 28 years into this, maybe even longer. But I enjoy everybody that I encounter, and the people I do business with. They could always call me. People just call me randomly about whatever the case may be. But you know, and New York City, being a beer distributor, also a owner of a brand, you're dealing with bar owners. People don't pay their bills on time, so I get everybody's situation. Being legal, yeah, you have to understand how the law works, but also how people work. You know, some people have issues, some people got problems. They had a fight with their mother, their father, they throw out fire. Who knows? They owe me a bill for $2,000. What am I going to do? Report their license to hurt them all? I can't do that. I like relationships. I like dealing with people. I like making sure I'm straight, everybody's straight. I like sleeping at night. I don't like sleeping on a rocky pillow. So in this industry, it's all about relationships, and everything you do, as everybody knows, and anything, it's all about relationships.
That's a fact. Right, Manny, so you told me the good about the business and the bad. Now I want you to tell me about these good beers you got going over here. Tell me about this Do or Die. This is my favorite right here, the Do or Die Lager. That's my favorite from Do or Die Bedstuy, so you know I had to represent with the Do or Die Lager. But you can tell me the ups and downs, the good about
Actually,
the
I'll tell you the whole story behind Bedstuy Brewing Company. I'm born and raised in Lafayette Gardens in LG 325, 7G. I got a young kid that actually came aboard when I was actually in charge of a major brand in New York City, and young kid was Edgar Nieves, and he actually was a gentleman that was always driving me crazy. Yo, man, make your own brand, make your own brand, make your own brand. E-Class, yeah. And me and him, I mean, I brought him from him not knowing anything about the industry because his sister, I knew his sister, and she was like, yo, please get my brother out of the neighborhood, Marcy Projects. Of course, I got to figure it out. Young, good kid, good family. Edgar decided to get into the industry, learn everything about it. And, you know, many years into ups and downs in the industry and whatever, he was like, Manny, you got to do your own brand. So I decided to do Bedstuy Brewing Company. Edgar designed the whole first brand that we came out with, Do or Die Lager. We decided to say Do or Die because that's basically what Bedford Cypress is all about, Do or Die and Bedstuy. And just the name, it catches everybody's attention from the Far East of China to the hoods in Bedstuy. You know, everybody knows what Do or Die is. So Edgar designed the can, designed the logo, and I only had the beer in draft. So we decided to put the can into effect. And when we put the can into effect, 2 months after we had the can, actually a month after we had the can produced and everything, Edgar lands up in the hospital. He dies 3 weeks later. And he didn't even able to get a chance to actually hold the can, open it, look around it, and just see where we came from to where we're at right now. So I'm gonna leave the label as it is, and
Definitely.
and just keep it along like that. But yeah, Edgar's always in my prayers. Everything that I deal with when it comes to beer, everybody asks what's up with Edgar, and I tell them the bad news, what happened to him. But it's good to bring people from the hood, from where we come from, to in the industry where you could always try to figure things out and make things happen in the industry.
That's exactly what you've been doing. Once you told me, you gave me the torch, I ran with it, and that's what you've been doing. So that's how you came with the Do or Die logo.
Yeah, it's easy drinking German style lager. It's a German style lager. Everything all the ingredients that we get is from overseas, obviously. But I always wanted a beer called. Actually, I always wanted German style beers to bring to my people, because again, we were talking about this earlier. Hispanics, blacks, any Caribbean people, anywhere where you come from, is either a Pilsner or a lager that you're drinking. So why not, bring what people are looking for, what people understand what a Pilsner or lager is, but by tasting it and understanding that everything that comes in that can comes from overseas. The water is actually made from Garnerville, New York. So you're gonna have the best of both worlds. Overseas ingredients where all breweries around the world buy yeast from one specific brewery called Weinstefan Brewery. It's actually in Freising, Germany, and they're the yeast bank of the world. And the yeast is actually what gives the beer flavor. If you have garbage yeast, or you're buying nickel and diming, I'm going to use that yeast strain rather than that. No, man. When you're thinking about beer, Weinstefan, I always said, is the Mercedes of German beers. Why not try to duplicate that style of beer that they're making and implement that to my people that I'm trying to bring it to? Yeah, when people try something, man, I mean, everybody's going to give their reaction to it, but at the end of the day, that's why I knew before going into what I'm trying to do, everybody's going to critique everything, but at the end of the day, like my father always told me, rest his soul, he passed away last year in December.
Sorry to hear that.
If you ever decide to do something, do it good. Don't do half-ass. So I always put that in my mind. Why am I going to cheapen the image, saving cents on a dollar, when at the end of the day, people are going to critique you regardless of the fact. So why not put all the best ingredients, the water, the best, the water, New York water is the best water in the world. So you have the best ingredients, the best water, and somebody in a can of beer where, again, like when you say people are going to look at you like, what the hell, what is going on? Just made the beer in a bathtub? I mean, maybe that's not the type of clientele that I want to bring into the equation. Exactly. If they want to bring it, that's cool at all. It's cool, and I get it, man.
They might support it. They might be like, man, listen, we're going to support the hood.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
I had a couple questions because...
Go ahead, please.
You mentioned, I know you got to go, but you mentioned earlier that being only one Latino-owned brewery in New York, the Round Table, and that is no black-owned breweries in New York. So is that because of red tape or lack of interest from, the community in brewing beer? Or
I always tend to always say, when people say red tape, that's like,
it's a cop-out.
It's a cop-out, I always tell people, if you have the money and there's ways to do things, if you got legal money and everything's legal, there's no problem. But I don't know, man.
Money is a red tape, though.
Everything revolves around money. But again, everything's about relationships too, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be honest with you. I go to places, breweries. I don't need money. It's my name that goes into the equation of things. So it's about your name in this industry, because if you have no bad malice coming into equation, why would anybody look at us differently? Why? Because of our color? I mean, I'm just saying. I get it.
Some stigmas, like we were just talking earlier about not going from Queens, Brooklyn. We wouldn't go to Manhattan because that color thing.
Of course,
how shit played out back then. So we looked at it like we wouldn't go to those areas, but because how you said your mother made you play baseball left-handed.
Yeah.
You had different opportunities. You went to different places. You met different people. You learned relationships from a young age. So you had that step up. So that's also a red tape. Like, we might not understand communication. I might be quick to go to the Bronx before I go to Manhattan and go on 14th Street and be around the whites and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the interest in brewing, that's information that we might need. Like I don't drink per se, but blacks, Latinos, we drink beer. So why wouldn't we want to own? Because Budweiser ain't making us,
Of course, the very uniqueness of what I bring to the industry now. I mean, Popsy you guys just know about Bedstuy Brewing Company, but what you just mentioned, I also have I work really closely with a legalized beer distributor in the state of New York, where we actually, I build a portfolio for distribution in New York City. And I would say a lot of 50, maybe 40% of my brands are of people of color. I'm the only distributor in the state of New York, and actually on the whole East Coast of the United States, maybe the whole U.S., that actually has a portfolio of multiple black-owned craft beers. Harlem Brewing Company, Adapt Brewing Company, Moore's Brewing Company out of Chicago, Bedstuy Brewing, Puerto Rican, Roundtables, Argentinian, Prison Pals, Unseen Creatures are Argentinian out of Miami, Florida. I try to help the underdogs, bro, in this crazy market called New York City. When you're really looking at New York City distribution, legal distribution, not no hole in the wall nonsense, legal distribution, there's only 5 beer distributors in New York City. And I'm the smallest and the darkest that actually represent people that look like us and be our cousins, extended family. So I enjoy this industry, and thank God, having my name and being straight in the industry for so many years. I mean, it's all about relationships, bro, and we do business with all the Whole Foods in New York City, the Total Wines in Jersey, all the specialty beer bars in New York City. I know all the owners of all these better beer bars, better beer establishments by name. So it's like, again, it's all about relationships and everything that we do as an industry for craft beer. And another thing too, for people of color, and it's a great thing, there's actually something called the National Black Brewers Association, which where you guys could go online and check it out, but actually they're the only group in the whole country that tries to help people of color to make craft beer happen in their specific state.
Mm-hmm. So now one more question, because you mentioned this while we was off camera. I just wanted to get it with the 5 cent Hopel, the 5 cents to 10 cents on a can. Mm-hmm. I wanted to kind of get that information out there for people to know. Like I never knew about the bottles when you charge in the store, that the 5 cents is added and how it's paid. So if you could just explain that, because I don't know.
Most of our people, we shop in bodegas, Arabic Sport, the Ox Spot, supermarkets, local supermarkets. When you ever go to Costco's, you buy those big 40-pack waters, $8.99. There's a 5 cent deposit that's being charged to you. So that 5 cent deposit is basically, I would say, a wash when it's coming out of your pocket, and you have to recycle the can. So right now, since that law has been in effect since the early 80s, we were talking about that earlier, it costs money to recycle. And right now, I feel bad for all the beer distributors that are actually collecting all these recyclable materials, dealing with all the unseen temperaments of the people coming in and trying to get their money for picking the cans, different nonsense, dealing with all the roaches, the rats. Nobody really understands it. So right now there's a law on the desk, and we're waiting for Governor Hochul to sign it. Hopefully she signs it. But everything is going to be 10 cents sooner or later. You're talking about every package that is to drink, consumed, from an infant to grandma's age. That's everything. So, and I think it's great because 5 cents has been in effect since the early 80s. But you're talking about Arizona Iced Tea, Snapples, everything that is cheap for our community, cheap, and will give us diabetes sooner or later. They're taking a run for our money and marketing that stuff. That's going to be 10 cents too. So the streets are going to be cleaner, and a lot more people are going to be, I would say, looking at dollars and cents and starting to collect more cans. Because have you ever seen those big the people that work the streets and do those cans? I mean, you're talking about those big big plastic
bottles and leave them outside on the curb already.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. But those big bags of cans and plastic waters, 10 cents a can. You're talking about $50 a bag, $60 a bag. And people may leave their job and not even work no more just to collect cans, and that's the hustle that is cool. In Michigan, I think everything is 10 cents. So why not here? We have, 12 million people in New York City. Imagine everybody drinking a bottle of water. It's 12 million bottles of water running around the streets.
2 times a day, 3 times a day.
Yeah, man, we got to clean the city of New York and try to figure it out. You know, why not? We got to implement that law. Hopefully, Governor Hochul signs that bill.